Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I'm here with a layout process video for you as part of the creative team over at the scraphappy.org membership group. We are talking once a month about mixed media, and this month I took on mixed media for those who are afraid of mixed media. So these are really simple things that you can do to dip your toes into mixed media and make beautiful projects. All right, I am going to work on 3 different little mixed media techniques. One of them was an older technique, and I'll just cover that briefly. But for now, let's start with my photos, because that's where I always start my layouts. And I'm going to pull out my product kit, which is from the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. And if you don't know about that, I will leave you links down below. We build our own scrapbook kits based on inspiration and then use them up through the month. And since these photos have to do with fall and my kit has to do with fall, it's a good match. All right, here I have some little doilies in my kit, and that is my first tip about if you're afraid of mixed media. Do it on something separate from your base layout that you can add to your project, and if it goes wrong, you can always throw it away. All right, this is the technique that I wanted to tell you about first. This was from an older video. I'm just going to cover it very briefly here because it is really simple. If you have a two-way glue that stays tacky when it's dry, and you have some what's called toner foil, I use the Deco Foil brand. It's very easy to find. You can draw doodles on things. Here I just drew some veins on some leaves and add foiling to your projects. So easy peasy, doesn't have to be scary. That quickie glue pen that I use is very inexpensive. I've had that thing for years. It's never dried out on me. So easy foiling is one way to dip your toe into mixed media. Okay, I did some things to progress my layout along, including coming up with the pattern papers I want to use, coming up with a split layout design, making space for those doilies to sit. I'm going to put a doily behind my photo of a larger size to help draw the focus to that photo. I do have some journaling cards that are a part of this kit that I printed out from the Tracy Reed digital collection, so I'm going to add that as my title. And I have one journaling card for my journaling. Okay, I've got some ink here, which we are going to use for another technique, the third technique, a little bit later. But before we get to that, I'm going to do this dip dyeing technique. And I do this one quite a bit. I like to buy white supplies because then I can dye them colors and I don't have to store 10 different colors of doilies. I just need to store the one. Depending on your doilies, these ones are from Doodlebug, and I found that they are a little bit more glossy, I guess, and it resists the dye just a little bit. So you may want to add a little more color to this process than I did. But basically, I just use some form of dye, either an ink pad or a marker or anything you've got that will take water, squish it down on a surface, spray some water on it, and then dip your item in there. That is actually how I also colored those leaves before I did the foiling on them. So I die cut a leaf in white cardstock, dipped it exactly the same way, and colored them up to be pretty non-traditional fall colors. So this is a technique I use over and over again in small doses on small things so that I can change up the color of my products. I am adding a little bit of splatter to this. Again, depending on your doily, I found that these doilies, the spatter really spread itself out as it kind of absorbed and wicked into the paper of the doily. Different papers will behave differently. On a basic cardstock, you'll often just keep the little dotted spatter shape, but the doilies really, it just soaked it up and spread it out more like a paper towel kind of. So test out your stuff before you do that. All right, here is the final technique that I want to talk about, and this is called vignetting, and it is super simple. If you have a sponge and you have an ink pad, I prefer black. You could also use brown, it's pretty traditional, but really whatever color you want to use is going to work out. And you just add a shadow of color around the edges and then bring that into the corners. I just put up on the screen a before and after look. If you need to go back and check that out again, you can see how much that shading on the corners draws the focus into the center of the image. So here I'm doing it on my journaling card, which actually is going to be my title. So I really wanted to draw more attention into those words. So that's one of the first things people see when they're looking at this layout. They read the words, and that leads into the rest of the story. I have a little bit of a bonus here. It's not quite mixed media, but if you want to change up some of your supplies, like here, I really like journaling lines to write my journaling on, because otherwise my handwriting goes way crooked. I cut out a scrap piece of plastic from a package and laid it over my card. I'm going to trace out the area where I want my lines to be, and then I will cut that shape out, and then that will be kind of a mask so that I can stamp lines over my journaling card. If you don't want to do this, you can certainly use a ruler and a pen and draw some lines across, or if you're comfortable, freehand draw lines across. I really like my journaling stamp. It's one of my favorite scrapbooking tools, so I prefer to do this kind of this way. So this can be done with any shape. Here I've got the leaf shape, and that little mask is helpful. And because I did it on scratch plastic, I can just throw it away when I'm done. And I've always got scratch plastic around from packaging, and I can make a new one for a future project in a different shape. All right. I'm just finishing up those journaling lines there. And that is that part. Okay, my doilies are dry now. Once I worked on all the rest of the layout, I'm going to very simply add my little embellishments to this. And so this is a really easy layout. Also, doesn't take very long, and it adds a lot of character with these small bits of detail in this kind of mixed media zone. Now, these are really easy mixed medias, may not be quite what you think of when you think of mixed media, but really, this is a stepping stone. If you enjoy doing these little things, you just might find someday, like me, that you'll get into the messy stuff. I used to hate the messy stuff because I hate cleaning, but I did realize that I like the results in the end. So I learned to be okay with the cleaning part. All right, I am just finishing off this layout with a couple of small little label tags to go across other parts. I'm having a heck of a time finding the pin that I want to work, and I think I changed my mind completely in the end. But at any rate, I add those small details, and that leads to the finalization of this project. So I leave you with this little bit of a close-up view, and I hope that I have encouraged you to try some small mixed media if you are afraid of it. And go check out the scraphappy.org membership group, details down below, if you're looking for a dedicated online community to hang out with. And also go check out the Counterfeit Kit Challenge if you like the idea of building your own scrapbooking kits. Until next time, I hope you have an artful day.